We're now going to add some more buttons onto layout 1. We've got two buttons here at the moment, previous and next, which allows us to move through the records. But remember in an earlier video we were on layout 2, switched to layout 2, and we were able to perform a find. Remember this find at the top with the magnifying glass? So we could actually click on that and have a find. We can create a button that will allow us to do a find on this layout as well. So let's go ahead and see how you do it. First of all, obviously we go into Edit Layout. Now before I start, I've looked back and I've noticed that my two buttons I've got here, the one for previous and the one for next, are slightly different sizes. I'm going to resize the next one slightly. So as I come back smaller, can you see I reach a point where a little up and down arrow appears? And it's telling me that's now exactly the same height. Those two buttons are the same height. So I can now move that across. And there are other ones appearing as you do it to help you size and set things up. Okay, let's create a new button. So we come up to the top here. This is where your buttons are. So click on the button icon, come down, and I'm going to draw my button. And it's giving me a line underneath, so I know my button's on the same line as there, and now it's the same width as the previous button. Can you see that double-headed arrow that's appeared? So I know my button's the same size. I'm going to call it Find, and it's going to have an action. The action will be a single step. So we're going to go into navigation and we're looking for Enter Find Mode. Can you see that one there? Enter Find Mode. Now remember, it's got to appear over on this left hand side. These are where the actual scripts are. These are just the shortcuts on the right side to help you do it. So I have to double click on that to bring it in. Now I can specify a particular find that I want. I just want to, if I want to find for just one of the field names, I can do that. If I leave that open, it allows me to find from any field name. Okay. Now remember that options at the bottom of the button setup. Here I can click on that and it changes the cursor to become a hand when I go over that button. So I've now created my find button. I go back to Exit Layout, and now I have a find button as well. Okay. Now my button, as you can see, is the same width of those, but it's not quite the same height. I might need to go back in and make it a bit taller so I get the double-headed arrow, and then it'll be the same height of those others. So how does the find button work? Well, when I click on it, it brings up my find options. So if I'm looking for a girl whose first name begins with A, and I hit the return key on my keyboard, it gives me all the A's: Abigail, Alexandra, Alison. If I look at the top, I've actually found 12 records. So there are 12 girls whose names begin with A. Okay, let's do another find. How many girls' names begin with A who are also borders? Hit the return key on your keyboard, and Amanda's a border, Anne's a border, and Audrey's a border. There are just those three. Can you see there's only three? I can't go any back any further, I can't go forward any further. So it only gives me those three records. So this is a bit like, do you remember that very first video lesson we had when you were looking at the clothes store, the online clothes store, and you were putting in different criteria to try and find the correct dress that you wanted? Same idea. This is what you're doing. You're using a find button. Okay, let's see if you can go ahead and create your own find button, please.